Hi, I'm Dr. T, and I'm a pediatrician. On Ask Dr. T, I answer health questions from teens. Questions ranging from safe sex to self-love to questions about body parts. Let's get this episode started. All right, on this episode, sex. Lots of questions about sex. We're going to start with some ones that sort of relate to virginity or first time or things to expect. But don't worry, I'm going to get to many more questions about sex. So, first question. Is there a right age to lose your virginity? No. So, medically speaking, there is no specific age. Different countries have different laws, which I have learned, but medically speaking, there is no right age that you should be prepared for sex. What I like to say is really more of a mindset. So, what do I mean by that? Sex can be wonderful for a partnership. Both parties should be prepared and understand consent. The other things that I like to talk about are understanding consequences of sex. There are sexually transmitted infection consequences. For some couples, there are pregnancy consequences. And for almost every person, there's going to be an emotional or relationship consequence from having sex. So, first, understanding sexually transmitted infection consequences. The risk of STIs is present for any type of sex, whether that's oral sex, anal sex, vaginal sex, even vagina to vagina sex. So, understanding that if you want to protect yourself, 1, get tested. 2, use barrier protection, condoms or dental dams. The second part, if pregnancy is a risk, understanding that penis to vagina sex, so when sperm enters the vagina, that is the only time that pregnancy is a risk. But if you are not prepared for pregnancy, being on birth control is an important step in preparing for having sex for the first time. And then lastly, emotional consequences. There is a lot of hype and build-up around having sex for the first time. The relationship might change. This is a very intimate act, so you will be sharing this with someone, and that's a lot. If you are prepared to enter this from an emotional standpoint, then that's great. A lot of people experience guilt or regret after having sex, so just make sure that the timing feels right and the relationship feels right. But again, no one age for losing the virginity or having sex. I'll talk about the social construct of virginity another time. But for now, I'll let you define what virginity means to you and when you want to have sex for the first time. Second question. My boyfriend and I tried to have sex. I was relaxed, but my vagina still tightened up and wouldn't allow penetration. We tried a couple of times, but we couldn't because of the pain. Is this vaginismus, or is there something else? Vaginismus is a diagnosis that doesn't usually happen for until someone's had sex multiple times. So it's possible, but what I suspect is more likely is 1, things were tight down there, like your hymen. 2, maybe there wasn't enough lubrication. And 3, even though you say you were relaxed, this is a tense thing. There are a lot of nerves and emotions, and it's natural for muscles to kind of tighten up down there. So before jumping to conclusions about what diagnosis you might have, I would encourage you to play around a little bit more and invest in lube. So lube is going to be your friend when it comes to if dryness is an issue, if a small hymen is an issue, and even if vaginal wall tightness is an issue, because that lubrication will help ease some of the friction down there and will help with comfort for both parties. So if you're using a condom, which I always recommend, if you're using a condom, you should never use oil-based lubes. So water-based lubes or silicone-based lubes are going to be your best bet for lubrication when it comes to sex. Keep trying. I would also encourage you to really work up the foreplay. Kind of get things relaxed and, you know, feeling good down there, which would involve some clitoral stimulation for the vagina owner and some penis stimulation for the penis owner. But I would not worry just yet. I don't think you've exhausted all of your options at all. I will link in this video to some water-based lubes, and you can also check out my website, and I've got a list of products including condoms and lubes that I recommend. Alright, third question. I recently lost my virginity and I'm not sure how to tell my doctor and therapist. Do I lie? That's your call. As a doctor, I wouldn't want you to lie because it allows me to do my job. You need to know that if you are under 18 and you have this conversation with your doctor without a parent present, doctors don't tell the parents. It's confidential. We can talk about sexually transmitted infections without your parents. We can talk about birth control without your parents. So talking to your doctor, I would say, is in your best interest, and do it in confidence. But they may ask, or you may have to give that information. But I would encourage honesty. And again, know that whatever you tell your doctor about those situations, if it's consensual sex, then that stays confidential. My boyfriend and I have had sex a few times since we both lost our virginity to each other. I have a burning sensation in my vagina, and it's not comfortable. Do you have any suggestions? Okay, first of all, might be a little dry, so lubrication, again, is going to be your friend. Second, if you're wearing a condom, it's quite possible that you may have a bit of a latex allergy, in which case I would recommend then a polyurethane condom. And I'll link to that in the description of this video as well, and it's also on my website. But polyurethane condoms are good for latex allergies, so I would say both of those are good options for you. And those are probably the likely culprits too. And question number 5. Why do I bleed every time I have sex? So I'm assuming this is someone with a vagina. It depends on how many times you've had sex. If it's your first few times having sex, you can tear your hymen multiple times. So it's possible that, again, the first few times you have sex, you have bleeding, frank bleeding from your vagina because of that hymen. Eventually things should heal up, and it's possible also if you aren't giving it time to heal up on its own, you might be kind of re-tearing things. So give it a little time to heal and then try again. If you've had sex many, many times and you are still bleeding, it's possible that there's bleeding from irritation within the vagina. So could be a lube that you're allergic to, could be a condom that you're allergic to. The other thing that it could be is some sort of an irritation within your vagina, which can be caused by sexually transmitted infections. And so if you've had sex multiple times and you're having bleeding with penetration, I would recommend just getting checked out for STIs and make sure everything's clear there. Those are a few different reasons why you might be bleeding after having sex many times. So, All right, so this was the first round of sex questions. Expect many more to come. And remember, if you have a question for Ask Dr. T, you can either respond in this video or submit through my website, askdrt.net.